your enjoyment by the Chicago Poetry Center. Thank you for getting quiet. I appreciate you. Yes. I didn't even have to do the clap thing with the teenagers, right? I know there's some teaching artists in this room. We want to start, as always, with our land and labor acknowledgements. We want to acknowledge that this event is being hosted on the unceded traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes, such as the Miami, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Sauk, and Fox, also call this area home. The region has long been a center for Indigenous people to gather, create, and maintain kinship ties. Today, one of the largest urban American Indian communities in the United States resides right here in Chicago, continuing to contribute to the vitality of this city and to celebrate their heritage, practice traditions, and care for the land and waterways. We invite you to take this moment to acknowledge all who came before us, the Indigenous peoples displaced by colonization, as well as those who built this country through uncompensated and compulsory labor, those enslaved and those oppressed. We honor those who came before, all those who continue to live on this land, as we hold this shared space for art and expression. So a little bit of information about the Chicago Poetry Center. At CPC, we believe that poetry illuminates our individual and shared humanity, fueling thriving lives and healthy communities. Our mission is to connect people and poetry, equitably engage poets with communities, and foster creative literacy in the city and beyond. We envision and work to create a fair and verdant world rooted in artistic expression, human connection, and boundless imagination. There's lots of information about our programs at the table in the back, including our poetry residency programs and pop-up performances in Chicago Public Schools, the free citywide poetry calendar. So if you're new to town or new to, check out the free citywide calendar. If you run an event, please let us know about it. We'd love to add you to the calendar. And also there's information about our Critical Conversations Work Anti-Racism program. Speaking of which, we have the opportunity now, like next Monday through June, for anyone who wants to participate in these free online anti-racism community discussions that are grounded in poetry. It's a process that we designed a few years ago that really is set up to use poetry as a springboard so that we can have transformative discussions about the impact of race on our lives, particularly at work, without requiring those most directly and violently impacted by racism to tell their stories of trauma and resilience in order to get things started. So those are free. Check out the QR code on the back table there. Do sign up. I am biased. I'm one of the facilitators. But you should come, despite that. Also, at 7 o'clock Central on April 10th, our own C. Russell Price is leading a workshop on how to organize your poetry manuscript. It's totally donation-based, so sign up today. I believe there's a QR code for that as well in the back, or you can just go to poetrycenter.org. Any other logistical stuff? Masking, strongly encouraged. Our executive director has COVID right now. Yay, it continues. I know. Let's all say hi to B at home. We love you, B. Sorry you have the plague. Feel better. Feel better. A big everybody watching on the live stream at home. Hello, people on the live stream at home. Say hi. Say hi. Good job. You all are a very respectful audience, and I appreciate that. But you're gonna get a little louder. Yes. Speaking of the live stream, please don't bump the little table or put your face up real close to it because it makes it stop for some reason. We don't know. Technology is awesome. Great. I'm gonna run and grab the durian and then do the open mic. Hold on. Yay! Applause! Wow, yowza, you all signed up. I love it so much. 5 of you will get to read poems. And the rest, you just have to come back next month and do it then. All right, we are here the third Wednesday of each month, except for the summer when we take a break, but we will also have the summer poetry gathering then, and that'll be rad. If your name is pulled, if you are, for example, this person, we ask that you read for 3 minutes or one poem, whichever comes first. So, if you wrote a rhyming version of the encyclopedia, just read like 3 minutes of that, okay? Thank you, we appreciate it. All right, first up we have Brianna Nasir.
Can everyone hear me?
Woo!
Solange and Seattle are the only things getting me through February. That and the wind whispering a glass ripple of rain over the street. I wait for the bus on one of those gray, aimless, analog days that amble past sans urgency, always coming back for forgotten keys. That and the white flesh nectarines, blushing cerise against the little wooden bowl, so coy and virginal, while winter steadily cools the windows, breath foggy and insistent. How I long to run my hands over stingrays, as I did once as a girl, clambering through aquarium one spring, to skim their supple, glinting skin, both of us bound by water.
One thing I forgot to mention that I saw in my notes back there was that you are encouraged to self-care. Poetry does induce feelings, and so if you need to take a little step outside, get some water, that sort of thing, please feel free to do so. Just do so respectfully. Wait for a little pause. All right, next up we have Alex Ireland.
I remember what this one is called. I'm in docs right now. Oh, it's called Reciprocation. I move through the of his esophagus as he swallows me whole. He mutters, shudder into me. The phrase shivers up my spine. I trace his calyx with my fingernails while his beckon me closer. His chin is tattooed with ink that only stains blanket draped over my figure. He climbs the ladder of my limbs, inching up to meet my gaze, and I kiss, a reflection when our faces finally meet. I flip his shoulders and drag the words, my pleasure, down everything that follows, until our eyes lock again from far away, and his music echoes my lips. My mouth persists, and we both intermittently gasp for air. My eyes ravish every bit of skin. My tongue takes in his Venusian response.
Alright, that'll work for us. Okay, who's up next? Let's see. Sarah, or Sarah.
Oh wait, hold on, which one?
Oh,
I gotta give my last name. So Sarah's from. And it's like,
who wrote it like a crazy pen?
that's me.
Alright, oh,
Hello everyone. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm excited to share this poem with everyone here. Patient if if I'm nervous and I go blank. This poem is called Free Will. If I have to share one story about my faith, about God, I would probably say free will. That would be the title of the story, Free Will. And the freedom of choice, the freedom to free the slaves, the freedom to capture and enslave, freedom to love, heal, mend, the freedom to hate, kill, rend, the freedom to inspire, design, create, the freedom to destroy, destabilize, desecrate, the freedom to embrace the message of God, the freedom to object, reject, discard, and discount, the freedom to send help, aid, and charity, the freedom to betray, deceit, and lie with clarity. The freedom to bridge, connect, and sacrifice. The freedom to separate, sever, and parade pride. The freedom to steal, bribe, and spread corruption. The freedom to restore God's prescribed function. The freedom to practice, worship, and pray. The freedom to control, worship, and obey. The freedom to be sages, saints, and saviors. The freedom to be a demagogue's fan, favorite, and flavor.
Let this be a lesson to everyone signing up. Put your full name on the sheet. Now that's all right. We figured it out. Different colored pens, etc., etc. Hold on. It's upside down. Jeff Orcutt.
Oh, crap.
My friend, you signed yourself. We're excited to hear.
It's only the second time I've read anything, so. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm not simple. I'm sorry that I'm not like Sweet Shadow, your old dog, who lived for you instead of complicating your life. I'm sorry I did not stay a child, seeing things in black and white as Shadow does, seeing you as the whole world, seeing you as a goddess. I'm sorry that I couldn't simply be trip after trip to Woodfield Mall, Botanical Gardens, with me safe, firmly safe on your body and my snuggie. I'm sorry I'm not simple. I'm sorry I became a betrayed teenager, understanding just enough for the first time to be thrown into a messy world where nothing's black and white. I'm sorry we all fight that eviction from our own Eden for the rest of our lives. Sorry for the rage that ravages through my stomach, through my body, my very cells thrashing against you, the world. I'm sorry I'm not simple like the stories we tell ourselves to face the world. And I'm sorry that we all die, that Shadow's life had to end, that Dad died. I'm sorry I'm not simple. I'm sorry that I'm complicated and make you suffer, being separate from you, a part of the world that overwhelms you and outside of you. I'm sorry you have the limitations that you do. I'm sorry that I'm more complicated than you were designed to deal with. And I'm sorry I'm no longer you, carried inside of you and felt by you. I'm also sorry I wouldn't change it. This is what made me. This is what helped me write this. There's always a hill to climb. We all fall from Eden. Without you, I wouldn't be me, and that wouldn't do.
All right, we have one more reminder before we get to our featured readers. So I didn't tell you the order, but I think, Ron, I think you're going to go first. Ron, you good? Now I'm letting them know, this is my very professional hosting and curating. I'm telling my features from stage what's about to happen. All right. I don't know. Who's next? Who's this? Sarah Abdullah?
Sarah. This is called, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. This is called 10 Coins, Death, and Olives. My grandmothers tell me that one day I'll return to them, but not yet. When I ask questions, they implore, look closer, away. Another lifetime, my father plays the oud in the fluoxetine. Red trees flow softly over my hips, and I don't fear possessing space. The girls rule the village, and the goddess doesn't sacrifice her son. My mother is the empress, and father, king of hearts. He teaches us how to weep. We play the qanun with quartz fingertips and crystal souls. My mother writes until her eyes pay her dues, and we know nothing of the violence. The daughters create their fathers, and the sea leaks the lake. My daughter parts the Mediterranean, and it flows through her hair. I asked my father how many lives he was an orphan in, and he says none, because Palestinians are never orphans. Sons of the land and moon. He swears he will go back, but my dead grandmothers go first. Here I don dark glasses because the Holy Spirit encourages me to stop looking for a savior. In this timeline, I reinvent sorrow. This timeline, I only meet Keta in dreams. Her home is only made of olives and metaphor because she says home lives inside love, so her son will never be an orphan.
One more round of applause for everybody in the open mic. So super psyched about our two featured readers for tonight. Those of you who come with some frequency know that I have no algorithm. I have there's no like super planned way that features get matched up. This year for our 50th anniversary, you can also applaud for an organization. That's the real thing. So we decided for this anniversary year to have two kinds for each Blue Hour we would have one reader who has read for us in the past, and one person who's never read for us. And so it was a structuring device this year. But aside from that, it was like what dates match up, so on and so forth. Who says yes to my pleading emails about coming to read here in Chicago. And it always ends up just absolutely perfect. It just always ends up that these two sort of worlds that connect end up overlapping in this incredible way. And as I was sort of thinking of these two writers and their work in conjunction with each other today, I was just thinking about how in their poems, I see the world sort of made and made. Like there are constructors and deconstructors, and you'll hear in these poems, I think, the ways in which we can, if we choose to, make new worlds, unmake worlds, remake worlds, and we can defy everything that says to us, no, it's set, it's fixed, right? And it's something that poetry does for us overall, but I feel like in these two poets, I really see and feel that in my body, that deconstruction and reconstruction that's possible in language. I also feel this incredible sense of lineage, this looking back and looking forward and honoring those who came before us and honoring those who are coming after us, and that whole cycle. So I'm super excited to hear from these two poets tonight. So thrilled they came to join us here at Blue Hour. We're going to start with Ari Villanueva. Ari Villanueva is the author of A Holy Dread, winner of the 2024 Alice James Award. And Reliquaria, University of Nebraska Press 2014, winner of the Prairie Schooner Book Prize. Hey! New work has been featured by the Academy of American Poets and National Public Radio, and his writing appears widely in international publications such as Poetry London and the Poetry Review. His honors include commendations, forward prizes, and fellowships from the Sewanee Writers Conference and the Constance Snall Foundation for the Arts. Born in New Jersey, he lives in Brooklyn. Please give many applauses for Ari Villanueva.
Name means I don't often go first. I'm humbled. Good evening, everybody. Mine will be a beautiful service. 1. When you bury me, fold my arms neat over the plateau of a double-knitted suit. The angle of the lapel matching my now permanent expression. Pressed, chemical, I will look content, but confused. As when you watch me turn in my sleep, dreaming of Golgotha in beeswax, a coffin for swallows, a toothless augur reading the flights and cries of owls. You will hear the cadence of my voice, the snapping oblique of my laugh. Among the votives and canticles, you will trace with the tips of your thumbs lines of demarcation between the fallow of my scalp and the dunes of my forehead. Quiet, you straight hairs back into their place. 2. Memento Mori. All sod and taproot now, all bulb and tuber and stem shoot, mulch throb, lush with worms and slugs. We are worth more than this. Thrum of the earth, clatter bulge of cicada shells along a coffin's hinges, teak and scented seed flushed with compost, an elegy of rot, this counterfeit aquarium. If you each day clutch our pillows, press them to your face, pray to take in some ad of me, all into the hollows of your chest, yes. I promise my ghost will find you, should you want someone else to love. One day my wife asked if I don't write her love poems anymore. And I said, that was a love poem. That's the last thing. But one must make blessed offerings to people. So I wrote this poem for my wife. I live in Brooklyn, but I work in the Bronx, which is a long train ride or drive. And I wrote this on my way to work. I teach middle school, and so one day my secret identity came out that I wrote poems. I said that I had to write something for the Valentine's Day assembly. And you've heard the poems that I write just now. And I said, I don't know what I could write for you all that wouldn't traumatize. So I wrote this for my wife and to share with my students. Devotional. I am writing this to you among the strangers on the 2 train because sometimes you half laugh that you would love for me to write a poem for you, and not that other kind of thing that I often do. That elliptical art thick wandering that delays I love you for well after the spectacle or the heart-fraught rhyme, the cave cathedral, a painted scroll bound with locks of hair. How easy it is to lose track of the truth, the marrow of you and I together, all these beautiful years. I love you, I am tapping with my thumbs, as someone's grandmother snores beside me, clutching her grocery bags, a weathered Bible. I love you, I'm saying now in my head, opening my eyes to find myself looking face to face at a child eating a corn muffin, punching his sister in the arm. In a fog of a fever and stress headaches, all I wanted was soup. Its slivers of roast pork, its green onions, and the warmth of broth in my chest. And last night you filled our last clean bowl and put it in a towel and touched my forehead and said, here you go. Aww. At this stop, I transferred 1, which slides local up into the Bronx for what feels like hours. Let me tell you again, without ornament, and for only you and I to hear in my voice, I love you. So I have 2 kids, and they have a hard time sleeping. And before, the only thing that worked for my kids was an audio book of like nature sounds and a woman pretending she's a narwhal helping them guess things. The only thing that worked was me singing the Rufus Wainwright version of the Jeff Buckley version of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. Hallelujah sings the choir and I. Hallelujah, sings the choir, and I reach low. Hallelujah, while her snores on my shoulder and drools onto my neck. What dreams I can remember are the dreams that frighten most. Ice and hairline cracks on the wings near takeoff, a white-grayed mass among contrast studies, nurses leaving us, tightening their smiles. There is a theater blistered by bomblets, a schoolyard scattered with phones, peaches, and triage tents. Letters left in the desert, and acres of cypress burning, Patmos and the Morns, wellheads, and the abyssal plains of the Gulf burn still. I know this child will learn to curse the sound of my voice. My son gets obsessed with songs, and so he'll listen to like one song over and over and over again. And last year it was the song Not Strong Enough by Boy Genius. Over and over and over again.
So true.
This dark, the same dark as when you close. This dark is the same dark as close your eyes, I whisper to our son while he catches his breath. It is well past midnight, and he will not describe the face of what he fights to unsee. By his feet, the green glow of a nightlight retreats into blue, slips softly to red. Above his bed, notes we once had time to tape onto the latch of his lunchbox. Flights of origami swans, throwing stars, and fortune tellers. When your turn comes to lie beside him, this is the bridge he's set to repeat. Always an angel, never a god. And so you hold him close, like a saint shadowed by the axe, cradling her own haloed head in her hands. I'm going to end with two longer-ish poems. This poem's called Damnatio Memoriae. Damnatio Memoriae is the practice, usually in like ancient Rome, where when someone lost favor with a state, they would cross out their faces, their eyes especially, as a way of like negating their existence. It was sort of like a public rejection of them and who they were. I used to live abroad, and when we flew back into Newark Airport, there was a place where the photograph of the current president, like right when you walked in. And I remember coming home and seeing a face and just wanting to deface it right there. Of course I didn't. But this was the poem that emerged from that want to do something and the feeling that art is a complete failure. And yet, it's what we have. And the epigraph is from Gwendolyn Brooks. Chicago. Her poem, Boy Breaking Glass. I shall create, if not a note, a whole. If not an overture, a desecration. Gwendolyn Brooks from Boy Breaking Glass. Damnatio Memoriae. A hollow cast bronze of an emperor stands fast to a makeshift plinth, unburied from a ditch behind an orchard. His forehead split, temples hammered in, his jaw thrown, crucible blazes. And see, a clutch of saints now, polychrome fog adorned with the many instruments of martyrdom, rising up tabernacle walls lit by candles rendered from fat, all eyes gone, all their mouths scratched clean away by fang or grit, because damnation, because obliviation and jubilation and rapture, because this forgetting demands the brutal magic of rage. I confess, these days I hold dear to such reckonings, and to the sight of flags cut from their masts, or as embers underfoot in capital park yards, and to word of statues unbolted, tarps, cranes, generals of zinc bound for rats and rock salt, riding down in the dead of night to whistles and vigils and rings. Tomorrow, our flight home lands on a runway north of arrivals. We'll run toward border control and its arrows, cordons to snake us past, mute shows of meadowlarks, musket fire, choir salutes beside the last launch of Atlantis. There, in full view of guards and exits, we walk that space marked for heads of state and find again this dying to tear at their portraits, to hit back, plaques, barrel through mirrors and memorials, all daring, though kept inside, kept quiet, not blasphemy or sacrilege enough, and far from actual defiance, we give them only our eyeballs, rolling gently in their orbits. Daydreams marching around the empty theaters of our skulls, and yet, look, my son is here in my arms. Beyond passport checks and custom scans now, a riot of laughter lunging at those photos, wanting, it seems, to prime fists or to drum his knuckles against their grins, or to smear both palms bright with spit and wet with sick across the glass. I know this means nothing, but imagine. His hands, unspeakable mess, visible to the whole terminal, a kind beckon, a slurry inviting each body to join in their own way, so we might face together these restless monsters we have made for ourselves. And I'll read one last poem. We'll read this one together. Okay? So you'll have a line and you'll have a line. There's a natural sort of demarcation. All right? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Marty. Thank you to the Chicago Poetry Center. Thank you all for being here. This is the first poem in the book, first-ish poem. And I wrote it, it started when we were abroad, and I was writing about my mom, who had just been going through an illness, and then it became a kind of reckoning, at least in sonnet form, with the illnesses of home. Your line is, the world has always been ending. The world has always been ending. And your line is, yes.
Yes.
Mass. The world has always been ending, I said, and you said,
Yes.
today half lost on the senderos. Among its dry brush and thorns, I hear my mother's voice in the rocks. I see in the rust plains and love bulbs and cairns stacked as markers her cells massing upon her heart, lungs running riot along her sternum. Soon the nights of marrow talk, of jabs and the 7 last words, serum nights with vials, the joyful mysteries, thumbs on decades falling asleep. I light a match with the end of another, warm her poisons and gauze for the new year.
The world has always been ending.
She said, and I said yes. Today we walk bearing hymnals and lilacs for the gazebo green, for stairwells and chalks drawn to mark the hem of a body. We bring each dirge in the shape of teeth, slugs, a tongue pressed to concrete. It's scored for sirens and windpipes, pellet guns and bells. We bless the blue of this wide winter sky above our once. Let it mean more to us than smoke, more than blood starved of air beneath skin, more than anthems hollowed or a field of stars dying and dead.
The world has always been ending.
He said, and you said,
Yes.
They are burning the names of the boys. They are shooting in the street. This because we and they, ashes mean undone leads and muzzles loosened, floodlights and flares, eyes doused with milk. At the chapel for Vespers, a woman holds a globe she has decked with poppies and birch tar and foil. Her son colors in a book of heralds and dragons, traces his palm. Now, the Magnificat. Now, I am down on knees, sure only that the fires will come again and again. Today?
Tonight, yes. So, you know.
Love to be taught.
I know. So, yeah. Some people will have some things to say too after this. All good things. Lots of questions.
All
so
excellent.
great. Yes. All right, folks. Next up, we have Sarah Ghazal Ali. Yes. Sarah is the author of Theophanies, illustrates books, 2024, selected as the editor's choice for the 2022 James Award. She holds an MFA in poetry from the University of Massachusetts, and is an assistant professor of English at Macalester College. Winner of the Sewanee Review Poetry Prize, her poems and essays have been published in the American Poetry Review, the Kenyon Review, the Academy of American Poets Poem a Day series, Best New Poets, and elsewhere. A Stadler and Kundiman Fellow, Sarah serves as the poetry editor for West Branch and lives in St. Paul, Minnesota. Many, many Blue Hour applauses for Sarah. Good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Hello, thank you, Marty. Ron, that's a really tough act to follow. Your voice is beautiful. Can you just sing to us?
We're doing karaoke later?
Ooh,
Yes.
All right, karaoke after this. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Chicago Poetry Center for having me, for having both of us. Something that feels especially special about this pairing is that we're pressmates.
Yay!
James books. I'm so excited to get your book. Yay! Great. Highly recommend. Something that Marty said that really resonates with me is this idea of worlds being built and then worlds being deconstructed and new worlds being made. I think this first poem kind of speaks in the vein of that. Self-portrait as mouthpiece of God. In most versions, I am impossible. Flesh immolated by the hot voice of a calling angel, not civil, never wrote for any wise man or lord's speech, though I too was one congealed blood, a mere clot, and I too became a clump of sinew, then grew a body of man, though I am no man, prophet, not an oracle, nor beautiful enough to tongue a syllable of revelation. My hair is palmed and pulled, my form like, obedient and so kept vacant. I heed all commands. I bear the brunt, someday even a child, and once I'm a mother, paradise will beckon from beneath my ordinary feet. No, not mouthpiece, but gaping cervix, marrow blown from the concave neck of a bone, and still a message worth hearing. Throughout the book, I think a lot about matrilineage and about women as origin points for faith, as opposed to the kind of patriarchal way of thinking about it. And one thing that I'm really obsessed with that kind of catalyzed the whole project is the figure of Sarah in the Bible and in the Quran, Sarah as this mother of nations, as this grand matriarch, as the wife of the prophet Abraham.
And in a number of traditions, there's a moment where she overhears that she's going to have a child at like the ripe old age of 100 or 300 or whatever the story says. There's different versions of it. And she kind of scoffs and laughs. And I just find that so remarkable that even if like a message is coming to you directly in olden times from God, there's still room to laugh in disbelief. There's room to do that, to have a human flawed reaction in front of the divine. And I find that so fascinating as a model for what faith can hold. So this poem circles that, is one of many that circles that. Temporal. At 5, my father showed me a color-coded model of the brain. We take it apart together, piece by heavy plastic piece. Blue, temporal, burrowed within a red bean, the amygdala. Like a seed? Yes, he laughs, where feelings bud. I picture current anger, pleasure amassing in bravery, and fear as a clotting kind of dark. The first prick of blood on a thumb. I unlimb my dolls, braid and section their stiff hair. I scratch their painted eyes, chide them their lack of anything occipital. I've seen it, pried open the skulls, found them empty. I wish I could be taken apart, thank what keeps me alive inside. Amygdala from the precise shape of our eyes, mine and his identical, but for laugh lines. To live is to see but the walls of my body, flesh the furthest point from the formless God. My father never joins me leaving. Each spring, he tends fervently his garden, coaxes to life new green. Genesis splits the earth anew. Decreed in old age to bear a son, my namesake trusted the parts she couldn't see. The buds God insisted were there, whole nations within her. From beyond scripture, she returns to crawl through my throat. Her involuntary sound, a revelation. I'm frightened, I'm awestruck. She lingers in the periphery, shaded behind doors. Faith, a legacy of echoes. Every echo a reflection, a voice. I still hear her laughter. What I know is the brain's doing. What I believe bewilders me. Another Sarah poem, or another Sarah poem. Mother of Nations. By now it's almost boring. The peal of Sarah's bewildered laugh. The sidelined matriarch, barren until she wasn't. I pretend not to hear Sarah's bewildered laugh. How does a barren tomb sound? Waiting until she wasn't. I pretend to be honeycomb, sucked clean, scraped raw. The sound of a barren tomb, waiting each month for the inevitable wilt of a cervix sucked clean, scraped raw. Hajar had it easy until she didn't. Sprouting, spared the inevitable monthly wilt. Sarah's throat plumed right in God's face. Hajar had the easy job until she didn't. But enough, it's boring. Faith peel. Have people heard of contrapuntals in poetry? Yes! I love form and I love contrapuntals because they're basically 3 or more poems in one. I'll show you if you can see. So it's kind of written in 2 columns, and the idea is that you can read the left-hand column going down, and that's one poem, the right-hand column going down, that's another, and then left to right forms number 3. So I'll read this all 3 ways. Did that make sense? Yes. Yeah, very fast, okay. And I'll repeat the title. Matrilineage umbilicus. The first inheritance, where you detach from an undug grave. In one language named Eve, the period preceding. But origin can't be an oculus, my abdomen rounded from navel to sex. Text appeared, Aleph, Abjad, mammalian. I did not want this. It appeared from figment. Witness. Matrilineage umbilicus. A puncture wound. Your mother. Call it provenance. Havva, or life source. Some say wife or mother of. Tethered to consequence, doomed to gate before a mirror. A line appeared. Linea nigra. The first letter, Aleph, inferred. I, matriline. Look how I multiplied. I bore your body. Matrilineage umbilicus. The first inheritance, a puncture wound, where you detach from your an undug grave, call it provenance. In one language named Havva, life source, Eve, the period preceding. Some say wife or mother of, but origin can't be tethered to consequence. An oculus doomed to gape before a mirror, my abdomen rounded, a line appeared from navel to sex. Linea nigra, text appeared. Aleph, the first letter. Abjad inferred. Aleph, mammalian, I, matriline. I did not want this. Look how it appeared. I multiplied from figment. I bore witness, your body. A fun fact about this one is that it's about a real dead bird, and I guess a general fun fact about me is that I see a dead bird once every 3 days. I feel like I'm haunted by like very clean dead birds. They never look like there's blood or anything that coming out of them. It looks like they're just stunned, but they're always dead. So 2 dead bird poems made it into the book. I'll read one of them. February augury. Yuan magnolias blossom first as birds. Little feathered fists, I admit to imagining, could harm me. Extending barefaced from trees, the known homes of jinn, I'm told. The night deepens and locusts halo my head, or don't. Believe me, I barely believe the heralds I've seen, the mirror windowed if I stare a beat too long, my face refracting others, foremothers, my beloved's hands rising in supplication under winter rain, stopping after spotting the dead sparrow by the door, bent like a comma, as if asking him to pause, or telling me to wait. My middle name is Ghazal, so I feel obligated to read a Ghazal. This is called Ghazal. My people are lovers of the Sher, Qasida, Ghazal. My people memorize the Quran and recite the Ghazal. My God elicits trust through aqsam, oath after oath. My people sing, don't insist on leaving tonight, Farida's Ghazal. My people must include my father, his voice swinging from baritone to bellow. Did my God not make his mouth oral imprint of every sung ghazal? My people say I am a morsel of their great green liver. My people love first like vultures, then martyrers. Death the sprawling shadow behind each sunlit ghazal. My people are bordered, my people are borderless. My God swears by the fig, the olive, the brightest star, and a prophet who penned no ghazal. My father practiced his English with me. I want to blame him. My voice void of, my throat hostile to ghazals. My father uncovered my hair. I want to blame him. My prayers might never reach my God, nor my entreating ghazals. Am I of my people? Do I please my Lord? My hair was bared,
but someone veiled named me Ghazal. I'll end with just one more poem. This is in the voice of Hajar, to be this foil or counterpart to Sarah in the biblical and Quranic stories, and it's written as a letter. Epistle, Hajar. Agate, alyssum, apricot, simple pleasures I can still pronounce in this desert. Love's only dominion, the clear, well-walked path to drinkable water. I hesitate to ask for answers, remembering the others forsaken in a basket, garden, well. There's no one left to write to, but I'd tell of the tree, its sweet shade at high noon, the untorn snakeskin I found while digging for wetness in the sand. Against the crude mountains, his turned back whittled down by my calls. I've learned to cull want from weight, to walk until water appears. Thank you.
Sarah's in the open mic and our Sarah feature. It's almost too much.
It's the month of Ramadan, so it's like lots of stuff.
It's so much. It's so much. Whew, all right. Couple quick things. There will be books for sale in the back at that table right back there. You know, I always promote the fact that we're a big book buying audience, so don't make me a liar. Go ahead and do that. Also, you don't want to get home and be like, I should have bought that book. Like, that's the worst feeling, right? Yes, buy the book. Buy the book. There is beer, wine, and water for sale in the back. Make sure to sign up for the mailing list if you're not already on it. Huge thanks to the CPC staff, our super volunteer Chris, our amazing interpreter, Vera Marie. Doesn't look easy, it's not easy. Enjoy the evening, even if you're an introvert, talk to somebody. Yes, I say this to myself, I say this to you, make a new poetry friend, and hopefully we will see you next month. Have a good night.